Yo, what's up, gang? It's Stuck on Pandora, and I wanted to give you guys my first impressions on Redfall briefly, quickly. Try to make it quick and dirty here, as the nephew and I just almost 100% of the game, Redfall, this weekend. It's Microsoft's new $70 big AAA release to both sell the console and Game Passes. The PS5 has become the far and away breakaway leader right now. So let's face it, it's bad. It's just not a good game, and I imagine it was a long weekend for Arkane, Microsoft, and team, and I'll get into why it's bad, because it's at the foundation for this one. So if you pre-ordered this game or you played it outside of Game Pass, you've got every single right now to be pissed off, even, furious about things. It's, if you paid $70 for this, you were promised something that you didn't receive. You got a right to ask for your money back, or whatever you feel like you need to do. You got a whole different bone to pick. But hear me out on this. If you're not of that crowd, or even if you are of that crowd and you're a Redfall fan, maybe you hate this game and you just want to hear people continue to pile on, I think this is the question for Redfall going forward. We're out of this first weekend, the noise will calm down, people will start to not attack it as much, and you still want some attack because you want some noise. I know that sounds contradictory or even oxymoronic, but if people just don't even care, well, then you're in trouble. This is the question. Is it worth saving? Is it Crackdown 3, and it just needs to be left in the digital rubbish pile to rot on the vine forever, relinquish that game forever? Because Crackdown 3, maybe it could have been a remaster, a 1, I don't know. It took a really long time to come out. It just came out, it was just not good. It just was not good, okay? It was worse than its predecessors, it had aged poorly, etc. And so Microsoft left it, and it's left a few games like that. And sometimes that's honestly the best thing to do. If you can't justify it, and that is in time and in money and in player count. Are you gonna keep people playing? Are you gonna be able to make money? Are you gonna be able to keep selling the game? Can you sell merch, etc.? Or is it State of Decay 2, which came out pretty rough and became amazing? Sea of Thieves, same idea. Fallout 76. I mean, that's gonna be something with Redfall, is like if you played this at launch, you might be like me with Fallout 76, and you might not want to come back to it because you just feel so burned by it. And that is to say that with enough time and enough patience on the part of the community and enough effort on the part of Arkane, and in the case of money, or in the case of time rather, is Microsoft willing to give them the money to give them that time to develop it? And that can only be done and is only justifiable if there's a great game here to be both made and found. And personally, in my often wrong opinion, I'm gonna state something that maybe, probably, a lot of you disagree with. For the latter, I think that you can fix this game. I think that it is salvageable. I think that it is fixable. Okay, I don't think Crackdown 3 was salvageable. I really don't. I mean, maybe, but it would have taken, I don't know what it would have taken, but at that point it wasn't worth it. And this is about Redfall, so let me get back to that. I think that there is enough of a game here, with its open world, with the action RPG stuff as basic as it is, with its looter shooter stuff, again, as simple as it is, it has the ability to become a good game. Mostly because of the setting, because there's so much you can do with vampires, and I think that there's a story here, and I think that the open world is fun to run around in. That if Arkane is given the time and the money, this could be a worthwhile investment on the part of Microsoft. Now, that is not defending the new normal of unpolished and incomplete game launches. Okay, that's not defending the fact that this is going to take, I would argue, at a minimum 2 years. 2 years to get right, to get it into a state that people would probably expect it to be in. And it's going to take DLCs, it's going to take major expansions, and probably a total rework of the loot system. It's going to take much more expansive and in-depth skill tree, and that doesn't even begin to crack down at the real fundamental stuff. Let's say Microsoft does give it the 2 years that I think it's probably going to take. I think at that point, question that Microsoft is going to ask itself, and Arkane, because Arkane has to first want to do this. It would have to be like, okay, we really love this game, we love this IP, this is our baby, we want to save it, please Microsoft. And if Microsoft says yes to it, I think that the number one thing they're going to ask is, do they want another Fallout 76 on their hands? Do they want the fate of Redfall to be just like 76's, and you're constantly fighting the permanent first impression that people had? When it comes down to Redfall, Arkane has to both want to fix it, and Microsoft has to think it's worth it. And I leave that up for you, audience. By the way, we hit 210 subs this weekend, and thank you very much for that. And you guys at Twitch, I miss y'all. Nephew and I were talking about y'all today. I'm asking you guys, is it worth it? That's the question to me. Is this Redfall a game that is worth Microsoft and Arkane putting the time and the effort into save? Or does this game need to go ahead and it's better off left to die? I think it's worth it. I think that the whole idea of this game is worth saving. I really do. I think the open world has already been built. It's there. It's fun to explore it. I think that the thing about it, though, here's the thing about it. To finish this off, my closing thought. All of this game launching like this, the reaction from the community, both within Xbox and outside of it, the gaming community in general, and people who, the worst of it is the people who pre-ordered and really were excited for this game. This was all avoidable. 100% avoidable. Do a beta or an alpha on Game Pass. And why that wasn't done, why there wasn't a game preview put forward. I don't like the game preview system in Game Pass all that much, and I think a lot of those games just sit in there a lot and wallow, and you just don't seem to move towards launch at any sort of meaningful pace. There just doesn't seem to be an end to it, like Fortnite was in beta for so long. I'm just saying that they needed to have a launch date, but it needed to probably be the launch date for the beta. And you could pre-order the full launch and get a new character or something. I don't know, but this as a beta or a game preview, probably scrap the game preview thing and just do beta like Steam and alpha like Steam. If this launches even as a beta, even though I think it's so rough that I don't know, beta, let's call it a beta. People won't be quite as pissed, because what we're looking at with this game is fundamental at the foundation of this game flaws. That 30 FPS in 2023 on modern hardware just doesn't cut it anymore. And it doesn't keep 30 FPS. It struggles to keep it. And I'm on a Series X, and I guess high-end PCs, it's even worse, and that just does not cut it anymore, guys. We're off the 360. We've been off it for a decade now. It's 100 gigs. It's 100 gigs, so it's bloated. It's bloated, it's not well optimized, and it's a problem. It lags, it rubber bands, it has issues, man. And then it has a second thing, and that's just that the enemy AI is pathetic. It is pathetic. You can get behind almost every enemy in the game and just punch them in the back. The vampires are effectively just zombies with teleportation. Just very little in this game feels like it was ready and stands out. It's generic at its best. It's simply lazy at its worst, if that's what it was. I don't know if it was time. I don't know if it was money. But there's moments. I will say, I will be one voice who argues there are moments. There's some neat bosses in here, okay, that you think maybe. And when they show up in the open world, I think, okay, that's where I still stay on the side of you want to stick with the fight. It might well be worth putting that 2 years into this game for Microsoft and Arkane. And the last part there with the fundamental flaws is it's a looter shooter action RPG. That's the thing that's supposed to keep you there. Well, the skill tree is basic. I mean, it is not that big. And when you have games like Borderlands 3 and 2, and of course Wonderlands now, when you have The King, for all intents and purposes, Destiny and Outriders and all the other games that are looter shooters that have come out in recent times, Fallout 76, the bar has been moved, okay? The standard is much higher for how complex the character development needs to be. Games like Diablo, and now the newest Diablo I hear is really good. Boy, the bar is up there. And I don't think that they shouldn't have gone this path. I think they had to. I think they needed to. I don't think this game has anything if that's not there. If this open world's not here, if the vampire idea is not here, and you don't have that looter shooter hero thing going on, this game's nothing. It's not even close to worth saving. In those three areas, optimization, the enemies, the combat, the enemy AI, the looting systems, and the RPG systems that make it all worth it, all three of those things are at this game's core. They build the framework for the story and everything else. None of that right now works well. And in some cases, you can just say, it's there, okay, but it's like the beginnings. That's what I got to say about Redfall. I'll definitely be curious. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys eventually. Soon, I hope. Soon, but eventually. Twitch.tv/StuckOnPandora. Thank you very much for listening. Peace.